relating to Andrew. Everyone thinks we're brothers, but no. Set the record straight. When he takes the White House, I'll conveniently claim that, though, for sure. All right, so I wrote this speech because I'm not smart like other people. Forgive me. I had to do something a little more heartfelt because I've known Andrew for 20 plus years. So I am a producer and an actor. I know very original in this town. But before going into this field, I worked for Andrew at a little startup company in New York City, Midtown. Oh man, I love it. Yang Gang, you are the best. Look, it doesn't take a genius to understand the totality of who Andrew Yang is and what his platform is all about. Read his book, The War on Normal People. Get it on your look. There's a reason why Elon Musk, Alyssa Milano, Casey Neistat, Marcellus Wiley, MC Jin flew out from here from New York for this, guys. Alright? There's a reason why all these people from all these backgrounds love Andrew Yang. Alright, so this time, guys. You guys come out of this inspired. Go home, tell your family, tell your neighbors, tell your social media. We want to build up this wave so that we can come crashing down on Washington, D.C.'s head. We want to put this man in the Oval Office. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the next President of the United States. To me, Los Angeles. The internet looks like thousands of the most beautiful human beings I have ever seen. Really, look around you, look around. Oh my gosh. This is incredible news for the world. Because they're looking up, they're saying, hey, Andrew Yang, his campaign, really interesting, raised $2.8 million in Q2. We're about to blow that figure out of the water. We raised $2 million in the last week alone. People are waking up to the fact that this campaign has the clearest vision for the country. That we can solve the problems that got Donald Trump into office in the first place. Am I right, Los Angeles? I'm running for president in part because we seem to be confused about why Donald Trump is our president. If you turn on cable news, why would you think this man is our president today?
Clinton, emails, all mixed together into this nasty cocktail. And they're like, that is why Donald Trump is our president. And I call bullshit! Because I looked at the numbers, Los Angeles. That's right, I did some fucking math. And what the math says clear as day is that there's a straight line up between the adoption of industrial automation in a voting area and the movement towards Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa. And we automated away 4 million jobs, mainly in those states. That is why Donald Trump is our president today. We're in the midst of what experts are calling the fourth industrial revolution. When's the last time you heard a politician say fourth industrial revolution, Los Angeles? Just now, that's right. And I'm barely a fucking politician. Donald Trump is not the cause of all of our problems, much as the talking heads like to act like that's so. He is a symptom, he's a manifestation of this economic transformation that we're in the midst of. It started with manufacturing and now it's gathering steam. How many of you noticed stores closing where you live in Los Angeles? And why are those stores closing? That's right, Amazon's like a giant black hole sucking up $20 billion in business every single year. And how much did Amazon pay in taxes last year? That's right, they paid less in taxes than everyone here in this group. Now, how is that possible? How did a $1 trillion tech company pay zero in taxes? And I'm going to say that is not their fault, that is our fault. We have to be pretty fucking stupid to let a $1 trillion tech company pay nothing in taxes. Am I right, Los Angeles? So here's the math, 20 billion out, zero back in. 30% of America's stores and malls close, and the most common job in much of the country is working as a retail clerk or cashier. The average retail worker in the United States is a 39-year-old woman making between $9 and $11 an hour. What is she going to do when her store closes? Fred says she's going to cry. There will be tears shed. But not if we can help it, am I right, Yang Gang? How many of you notice self-serve kiosks popping up in fast food restaurants? Not the In-N-Out, I'm happy to say. In-N-Out. In-N-Out's still here. But McDonald's is rolling out self-serve kiosks in every location in the United States by 2021. What is that going to mean for the hundreds of thousands of Americans who work in food service and food preparation? When you call a big company, you get the customer service line. What do, Los Angeles? You dial 000, say human, until you get someone on the line. Am I right? But in 2 or 3 short years, the software is going to sound like this. Hey, Andrew, how's it going? What can I do for you? It's going to be efficient, delightful, a little bit sexy, apparently. What is that going to mean for the 2.5 million Americans who work at call centers right now making $14 an hour? More tears. These are the trends that are shaping American life today. They're kicking more and more Americans to the curb. I'm going to talk a little bit about most common job in 29 states, driving a truck. How many of you all know a truck driver here in California? There are 3.5 million truckers in this country, and my friends right here in California are working on trucks that can drive themselves. Why do so many of my friends care about self-driving trucks? For the most American of reasons, the money. $168 billion a year in cost savings from automating away truck driving jobs. They tell me they're 98% of the way there. What is that going to mean for the 3.5 million truckers in this country and the 7 million Americans who work at truck stops, hotels, diners, and retail establishments that need the truckers to get out and have a meal? So my first move, when I dug through the math, was not to run for President of the United States. I went to our leaders in Washington, D.C., and I asked them, what are we going to do? How are we going to let America know that it is not immigrants that are causing these problems? It's not immigrants, it's automation and technology. And what did the folks in Washington, D.C. say to me when I asked them, what are we going to do? Number one, we can't talk about that. Number two, we should study that further. We have to educate and retrain all Americans for the jobs of the future. And I said, hey, that sounds really responsible, but I looked at the studies, I did the math. Do you all know how effective government-funded retraining programs work for the manufacturing workers in the Midwest? 0 to 15%, that's right, Yang Gang, that's a fail. That's a fail by any curve. Well, the fail chant, that's a new one. My parents are somewhere smiling. I love you too. So the folks in DC want nothing to do with this. I know this because one of them actually said to me flat out, he said, Andrew, you were in the wrong town. No one here in Washington, D.C. is going to do anything about this because this is not a town of leaders, this is a town of followers. And he said to me, in order for us to do anything about it, you're going to have to create a wave in other parts of the country and bring that wave crashing down on our heads here in D.C. And I said, challenge accepted, Los Angeles! That wave. We are that wave. I'm going to go back to DC atop that wave. And they are not going to know what hit them, am I right? I have to say, I'm so glad I had someone with me when this guy gave me this little speech. Because you would think I was making it up, right? You think that's a movie supervillain type speech? You don't want water? It turns out it was a DC lobbyist type speech, and they're very much the same thing. So that is why I'm here with you tonight, running for president, and I was 4th in the country in a recent national poll. Because I'm talking sense, I'm describing the real problems, and I have real solutions that would actually improve our lives and make our lives better. Thanks, bro. So what are those solutions? You all remember the first time you heard about me in the campaign, how there's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. You remember that, Los Angeles? I want you to reflect on the first time you heard that. Nothing like the first time, right? Where the first time you heard it, you were like, ha ha, that's a gimmick, that'll never happen. But if you dig into it, you'll find this is not an Andrew Yang idea. This is a Thomas Paine idea. This is a Martin Luther King idea. This is an Elon Musk idea. And soon, this is going to be the idea of the American people that takes us all the way to the White House in 2021. This is a Yang Gang America. Don't adjust your stopping a majority of the citizens of a democracy from declaring ourselves a dividend? Nothing at all. It's been in effect in one state for the last 40 years. And what state is that? Los Angeles? And how does Alaska pay for it? And what is the oil of the 21st century? Marijuana, that's right, Los Angeles. It's not marijuana, you were right. It's technology, artificial intelligence, self-driving cars and trucks, big data. How many of you saw the study that just came out that said that our data is worth more than oil? Raise your hand to that. Now keep your hand up if you remember getting your data check in the mail. What happened? Did our checks get lost? They did not get lost. They went to the Amazon headquarters, the Google headquarters, the Facebook headquarters. Oh, they're getting our data checks to the tune of billions of dollars. I say that's our information, and if anyone's getting a dividend, it should be us, right, Los Angeles? We need to rewrite the rules of the 21st century economy so that they work for us, the owners and shareholders of this country. Am I right? And when a company declares a dividend for its shareholders, everyone applauds. Everyone's like, nice job, good job, good job. When Verizon, Coke, Microsoft, all those companies declare dividends, everyone's like, nice work. And you know what no one ever asks? What are the shareholders going to do with the money? Do you think Verizon's like, hey, we're going to give this dividend out, but we're going to follow you home and see what you spend it on? Of course not, because it's their money, just like this is our money, am I right? And we know how to spend it. We're going to spend it on the things that make our lives better. Daycare, car repairs we've been putting off, school loans, Little League sign-ups, making art. We know how to solve our own problems better than any politician, better than any government program. We put this dividend into our hands and it will begin the trickle-up economy from our people, our families, and our communities up. Particularly because the money would not go anywhere. It would be in our hands. You would spend most all of it right here in Los Angeles, am I right? Our businesses stronger, our local community stronger, our families stronger, and as a parent to 2 young kids, I have to say, what's going on in American families today is something we can improve. We must improve together. Am I right, LA? So this is a vision of an economy that works for us. We've set a foundation with the freedom dividend, and then we start solving the real problems of this time. And I'd like to ask a question that's patently ridiculous, but how many of you were excited about GDP when you woke up this morning? You were like, oh, I'm gonna make a good GDP contribution today. And I like to talk about my wife who's at home with our 2 boys. I was just FaceTiming with her. And she's at home with our 2 boys, one of whom is autistic. What is her work included at in GDP every single day? Zero. We know that's nonsense. We know that's the opposite of the truth, that her work is the most important and challenging and vital work that's being done in our society today. Yeah, ball in, that's right. I love you, Evelyn. And they love you too. When someone thanks me for running for president, I'm like, you've got it wrong. Thank my wife.
That's right.
She's saying on the chin. I thank her every day. I tell people I've got 2 jobs. 1, help advance our society in the time of the 4th Industrial Revolution. And number 2, stay married. I'm doing a pretty good job on both. So if GDP is a ridiculous measurement that none of you cares about, what do we have to do to actually make it something you would care about? How about your mental health and freedom from substance abuse? How about your health and well-being and life expectancy? How about clean air and clean water? How about how our kids are doing? I'm going to, as your president, it will be my privilege to update GDP, say, look, this is 100 years old, really out of date, kind of useless. And then I'll update it to the American scorecard that includes those measurements, and I'll report to you all, the American people, how we're doing on a PowerPoint deck in the State of the Union every year. How many of you checked out and stopped watching that? Yeah, we got to bring it back to something that actually will help us solve the real problems. We just spec out, you have record high GDP. You know what else are record highs in this country? Depression, stress, suicides, drug overdoses. It has gotten so bad that our life expectancy has declined for the last 3 years. You know the last time America's life expectancy declined 3 years in a row? Yes, the Spanish flu of 1918. A global pandemic that killed millions. We are back in Spanish flu territory because drug overdoses and suicides have overtaken vehicle deaths as cause of death in this country. And yet they tell us that everything is great, everything is rosy, GDP is going up, unemployment's down, stock market prices going up. And it makes no sense. As someone who's run organizations, if you have the wrong measurements, you're doomed. That's where we are as a society right now. We're cheerleading these phantom measurements that have nothing to do with how we are doing. And we can change it, right, Los Angeles? So this is the vision of an economy that will work for us. We can rewrite the rules. There's nothing stopping us. I have been inside the machine, and I can tell you, we can win this whole thing. I knew the machinery was weak. I knew the institutions were like on their last legs, but I got inside. I got into the middle of the belly of the beast. It's even worse than I thought. They're there. It's like the illusion of efficacy. It's so wild. You get in. Whatever you think is going on, it's a step or two below what you think is going on. I know, you're like, no way that's even possible. No way that's possible. Oh, it's possible. Oh, it's possible. That's one reason we're going to win the whole thing. Gang, gang. So because this is the math campaign, I'm going to break down some fun numbers for you all. That 10% or more of Donald Trump voters say they will support, which means that when I am the nominee, we win the whole thing. And what is the #1 criteria that Democratic primary voters have for the nominee? Beating Donald Trump, that's right. They're looking around the field and they're saying, who can beat Donald Trump? Who can beat Donald Trump? Andrew Yang can beat Donald Trump! I'm the fucking rock. And you know who knows this? Donald Trump knows this. Donald Trump months ago said this. He cannot wait to run against everyone in the Democratic field. His one fear is that some new figure comes out of nowhere to run against him. And that figure is me, Yang Gang. Because he knows his attacks work on politicians, and his fear was that a new non-politician that is not full of shit comes out of nowhere. Yang beats Trump. 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 So number one, we've got the poll saying I beat Trump head-to-head by 8 points. Number two is Donald Trump's own admission that what worries him the most is a non-politician. And number three is the fact that there is only one candidate in the field that he has not touched on Twitter, and you're looking at him. Because he knows I'm better at the internet than he is. So right now, Joe Biden is leading in the polls because most Americans regard him as the surest bet to beat Donald Trump in 2020. No, it's okay. It's okay. Most Americans are not paying very close attention right now. And so they think, like, who's going to beat Donald Trump? Joe. And I've met with Joe a number of times, and, you know, a lot of Americans like Joe for very good reasons. But when they wake up to the fact that there's another sure bet to beat Donald Trump, you're going to see our numbers grow and grow and grow. This is the math. We are building a campaign that brings in people that have not paid attention to politics historically. How many of you think that describes you? Raise your hand. Not into politics. Yeah, look at that. We're activating people on every point of the political spectrum. Disaffected people who voted for Donald Trump. That's cool. Yeah, we got a couple. There we go. Let's give a round of applause. And independents, libertarians, as well as Democrats and progressives. A much broader coalition to take on Donald Trump in 2020 than any other candidate in the field. Now, this is a new thing here in California. How many of you know that California got moved up in the order of states in 2020? That's right, California got tired of not having a say in who's going to be the president of the United States, and this time you moved all the way up to number 5. Decades, and everyone here will actually have a say in who becomes president of the United States. And historically, this is one reason why you all haven't paid attention, because it was already resolved by the time it got to you. It's true, you're rational, you're not idiots. Do look up and be like, hey, it's been decided by the time it gets to us, I don't need to pay very close attention. This time, the order goes Iowa number 1, New Hampshire number 2, Nevada number 3, South Carolina number 4, and then right there at number 5, along with other people's California. So this is your chance, California. Are you going to make the most of it? We can take this whole thing because this is not going to be decided by the time it gets to you all. It's going to be still a free-for-all. The first 4 states are going to get divided among a bunch of candidates, and then California is going to have a chance to make your say. You also have mail-in voting that starts a month earlier, so believe it or not, you all can vote at the same time that Iowa votes in early February. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, you're moving up changes a lot of things. California is going to be in play, and what you do is very likely to determine who's going to become the President of the United States. get along with Kamala, but I outperformed Kamala in a recent California poll. My experts who looked at the data say that we can win California. Are they right? It's going to come your way, California, in March of 2020, and then you all are going to make history. My job is to get the ball to you all. Our job, we're going to fight it out in Iowa. We're going to fight it out in New Hampshire. We're going to fight it out in Nevada. We're going to fight it out in South Carolina. And then we're going to bring you the ball. Do you know what to do with it? Yes, you do know what to do with it. So here's what we need you to do from now until then, because we've got 4 months to make history, Los Angeles. 4 months. 5 months by the time the ball comes to you, and then all of the talk becomes action. All of the signs become votes. What we need you to do is we need you to take your favorite piece of an interview with me, or a meme, or an article, or a policy, or a selfie, or whatever it is, and we need you to send it to your friends and family here in California. Can you do that for us, Los Angeles? And there's no better feeling than when you reach out to them, and then they take their time, because they're human beings, they have lives, but then they reach back out to you, like a number of days or weeks later, and be like, yo, I saw that Andrew Yang guy. He was on The View. He was on Seth Meyers. He was on Trevor Noah. He was on Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj. That shit's coming out soon. I didn't make that up. And he was making a lot of sense. And then people are going to be like, can he win? And be like, oh yeah, he can win. Because they look at the map. Because the country is ready. The machinery is weak. Then it's time for the humans of this country to take back our government. Am I right? What does this look like to you, Los Angeles? This looks like a fucking revolution to me. This is a revolution of humanity. This is a revolution of reason. This is we're tired of the infighting, the nonsense, the solutions that will not touch our lives. Instead, we're going to bring it back to us. We're going to bring the power back to us. We're going to make things start working for us. I cannot wait to get to D.C. I cannot wait to see the look on their faces when President Yang rides in on my white horse. We're going to let the country know that it's not left, it's not right, it's forward. We're going to go in 2020. America's already great, and that did not quite work. We have to acknowledge the depth and severity of the problems, but we have to have a new set of solutions. What were Donald Trump's solutions? We're going to build a wall. We're going to turn the clock backwards. We're going to bring the old jobs back. We have to do the opposite of these things, Los Angeles. We have to turn the clock forward. We have to accelerate our economy and society for the true challenges of the 21st century. We have to evolve in the way we think about work and value in our own place, in our own country. And I am the ideal candidate for that job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Let's make
You guys want to go crowd surfing?